Compete Radio starts now.
Dying to break out, ready to freak out. You push me, mold me, all I want is set free. Got me on my knees. I'm falling, aching, breaking. I can't even breathe. You need me, tease me, never seem to please me. I'm about to scream. I can't even breathe. You can't control me.
Oh, welcome to the show. I'm Josh Fourier here with
H.A. Johnson.
I'm pumped.
I would be too after that.
Yeah, she was a tough little cookie.
Who was that?
She was from the Real Housewives. Her name, what is her name? It starts with a J.
Jenna?
No. I'm getting there. Getting there.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. It's okay. We've got lots of stuff to talk about.
I know. We have some sad news to start off with, unfortunately.
Yes, we do.
Oh, well, someone has passed away. Oh, Jo de la Rosa is her name.
Got it.
Okay. So, sad news.
Very sad news. Ladies and gentlemen, former Yankees pitcher Hideki Irabu was found dead in his home this last week. He was only 42. No cause of death has been reported as of yet, but people do, the medical examiners do suspect that it was alcohol poisoning.
No, Hideki Irabu, he was the big right-hander. He was the star pitcher for Japan for 9 seasons before his contract was sold to the San Diego Padres, and that was in 1997. He refused to play for the Padres, AJ.
I know he did, because he thought that the New York Yankees were just the bomb.
Yep. And his rights were then traded to the Yankees, and the only American team that he has said he would join. So. Yeah,
and he pitched for the Yankees for a few years, and
they didn't like him.
No, apparently no. George Steinbrenner was really furious with him after one of the games in '99 when he didn't cover first base for the second straight game in a row. And so Steinbrenner had a few choice words to call him, and it wasn't pleasant. A
fat bleep toad.
Yes.
Yes, and that's a quote. They had it out. I mean, they did. They really went at each other. It was not a pretty scene. But let's remember him for all of the years that he gave his dedication and his life to the sport. Contributed, I guess, the best he could. Not up to everyone's standards, but then again, are any of us up to everyone's standards except us, AJ?
Well.
Well. We are by far the most extreme.
Yes, I'll give you that. But Irabu was traded to the Montreal Expos after the Yankees, after 3 seasons, and then he ended up pitching for the Texas Rangers. His ending career for the U.S. was a 34-35 record with a 5.15 ERA. And then he went to Japan to pitch for the Hanshin Tigers. He had a lot of trouble in the postseasons.
Sounds like he had a lot of trouble for many of his seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost all of them.
Exactly.
But, hey, he made it. He got that opportunity. Thousands of people would love the opportunity that he was given. So, we'll remember him for that. And our thoughts and prayers are with his friends and family. And we hope he is at rest now.
Yes.
So.
That's what we want to know. That's what we want to say, is he's at rest. We hope he's at rest.
Yeah.
But it's such a sad situation where he's gone at such an early age.
So young. Yeah. Yeah, that's what struck me as odd. I would like to know the cause of his death. But moving on, we have other health news. Brandon Marshall, let's go to the NFL, shall we, AJ?
Yes.
Brandon Marshall says that he is going to be the face of BDP, which is borderline personality disorder. And basically, the guy doesn't look like a kid to me. He looks like he's probably in his 30s or 40s.
He's in his late 20s, early 30s.
Okay. I have a very rough picture here. I'm sorry, Brandon. But he's gone obviously many years through his childhood, teenage years, his young adult years, being undiagnosed, because this diagnosis just happened recently, right?
Yes.
And basically what had happened is, it seems to me, like, why now is he being diagnosed with this disorder?
He never really thought that there was a problem. He had issues with running into the law back in college, and
yeah, but who didn't really? I mean,
and it finally took a domestic violence situation with his wife in order for him to get the help that he needs and to get the diagnosis that he really needs. He spent 3 months under intense psychological review and therapy, and he was finally diagnosed as a person with borderline personality disorder.
And it looks like, I mean, just from looking at his past and then looking at how he's behaving now after the diagnosis, it seems that with all of this damaging and even what's more said, the self-damaging behavior that he was going through in his past, now it seems like now that he's gotten this diagnosis, like this huge weight is lifted off his shoulders, where he's like, hey, I know what's wrong with me now. I know what's going on. I know why I'm acting this way. I know why I'm feeling this way. And so it looks like he's really embracing this diagnosis. He says he wants to be the face of BPD. The press conference they had about it, it was mentioned that this was one of the most memorable press conferences in sports that have ever happened, because he was so
honest, so
brutally honest, and not hesitant. He was welcoming any questions involving this, and I have to say that he gets some points for that. I mean, to come out public, to deal with it on a personal level is one thing.
Yeah. To
come out publicly, where people that don't know you are going to now begin judging you.
Whole different kettle of fish.
That is totally. And for him to do that, he gets some points for me for doing that. I mean, that takes a lot of courage. It maybe explains a lot of things as to why he's acted the way he has in the past. And there's treatment for this, right? There's medication. There's different things that you can do to maintain your sanity through this process, right? Because any type of, I don't care if it's depression, I don't care if it's bipolar, I don't care if it's borderline personality, any type of mental illness, dealing with your mind, anything like that, that can be so traumatic for an individual because you can't control it on your own. You can't help but be sad. You don't want to be sad. You want to be happy. You look around and you see everyone else and you want to be happy and have fun, but you're just sad.
Yes.
And so getting that treatment to where you're able to live a quality life, I think for him to come out and tell us all about that, which really it's none of our business, but for him to come out and tell us all about it, I give him major props.
Major props?
Totally.
Unfortunately, now that he's been diagnosed as a borderline personality disorder, there's no way he can go back either. It's going to be with him for the rest of his life. And
go back where? To the game?
No, it's not the game. He can't go back to being what other people would consider a normal human being. He has now outed himself as someone with this disease, and being someone with a similar situation, I totally understand where he's coming from. He will now face a life of scrutiny.
That's a very interesting viewpoint on that. Let's take a quick break, though. We'll be right back after this, okay?
Okay.
Tune in.
Well, hello, and welcome back. I'm your host, Josh Fourier, here with the fabulous
A.J. Johnson.
AJ, how are you?
I'm a little stuffy today.
Yeah, it was that rain that came through, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your hair looks great. I was going to say, in the light, I don't know if it's just the light or what, but as of right now, your hair looks like it belongs in a Pantene commercial.
Oh, thank you.
It's absolutely stunning, darling.
It's awesome because I actually use Pantene. Ah. Thank you.
All right. Let's talk about some corruption.
Uh-oh.
I love me some corruption. That's what this country's founded on. At least our government.
You think?
Yeah, I do. I not only do I think, I know.
All right.
All right, so
Bring it on.
fortunately, this does not have to do with corruption in the United States. However, this is going on in New Delhi, India. The Central Vigilance Commissions, it's otherwise known as the CVC, allegations of corruption in the organization of the Commonwealth Games are remarks, and they are not indictments. Now, this was said by Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit.
Yes, we did research on how to pronounce this woman's name.
Yeah, just let me get through this story, please. Oh, look what you've done now.
I totally screwed up the segment.
Did you have to? You had to say we researched.
Well, yeah, we have to let people know that we're not trying to be offensive with this woman's name.
Okay. Dikshit said that preparation for games, which will be held in Delhi from October 3rd to the 14th, are almost over, and all the minor complaints will be sorted out. Now, the CBC looks at things as a matter of routine. Okay, so it goes around everywhere, looking at all the construction taking place, and it goes around and it passes a remark, and the remark has to be answered, but it's not an indictment. And once again, Dikshit says, please remember, that's not an indictment. And this is what she told CNBC TV 18, their show they have called Beautiful People. The CBC doesn't work. The CBI doesn't work. The Vigilance Department doesn't work. Now, this is something which is being hyped without knowing anything, so the CBC took out clarification saying that its allegations of corruption are not to point out or indict somebody. Dikshit insisted that all the stadiums except Shivaji Stadium for the games are ready.
Okay, so from my understanding, what exactly are we talking about here? They're constructing a stadium in New Delhi?
Basically, there's multiple things that are going wrong, and this is where the problem is. Okay, so the CVC is coming in and saying, this is not up to par. Dikshit is saying, yes, it is.
Oh.
Okay, so in the last couple of weeks, for example, doubts have surfaced over the quality of the stadiums for the Commonwealth Games. One of the stadiums, the venue for opening and closing ceremonies of the games, is actually leaking. A section of the false ceiling of the Yamuna Sports Complex was scheduled to hold the table tennis event. It collapsed after heavy rain. There were also problems in another complex, which it was the swimming complex, which hosted a test event last week as part of the false ceiling was broken, and a swimmer was hurt after a cover on the water drain system found in the swimming pool came off. Now, the vice president of the World Swimming Federation, FINA, his name is Sam Ramsamy, he was there for the test event, and he expressed his concern, calling the work shoddy.
Okay, so what are they going to do in order to fix this in time?
Dikshit says there's no, she said there's no problem. She said things are good to go.
She said things are good to go, but yet things are falling around her ears.
or other places.
Wow.
Well, I mean, come on, listen to this lady. Okay, so this is the CBC. They're going in and they're saying, hey, you got problems. You have athletes that are testing these areas. Ceilings are falling after it rains. Drain covers are coming off. Swimmers are getting sucked into the black hole and getting injured. And then you have Dikshit over here who's saying, oh, everything's fine.
Okay, so what are we saying? That Dikshit is the one who's corrupt?
I think Dikshit is full of...
We might. Okay.
I don't know. We have some comments on this story. I'll get to the first one. This is from Rayo Master. And here's what's said. This is ridiculous. It is almost saying that yes, we are corrupt, but catch us if you can. Politicians know very well how to cover their tracks, and if push comes to shove, they will find a scapegoat to take the rap, like there is no smoke without fire. The CBC will not accuse without reason. Which I think is very true. I mean, they obviously have their reasons for going in and saying, hey, you got some problems, and Miss Dikshit won't acknowledge it.
Right.
Okay.
And we have another comment that says, the way the scams go on unabated in the country, the only match to the Congress seems to be the Maoists' Naxal's methodology. The democracy has failed.
And then you have another one there too. Wow.
Yeah.
They're pouring in.
Jesse McReynolds says Congress is a disciplined party. Let me try that again. Congress as a disciplined party has a well-written methodology to loot. They leave no trail behind. They always do everything in such a way that they cannot be proved. They all have digested the laws of the land and digested that. That is the expertise they have acquired in 60 years. It will be very difficult for other parties to match Congress in malpractice. They will be caught.
Yeah, and I have one last one that we can get to before the break. This is from Brian Thomas, and he said, God save India and poor people love India from this irresponsible, dirty, biased, corrupt, foolish, pseudo-secular, contract killers, and vote bank politicians. Now, we don't express the views of anyone that leaves comments, but we like all of the diverse opinions to be heard on the show. I think that Sheila Dikshit should not be so closed-minded when it comes to the people, and think that they're just going. The citizens of India are just going to believe whatever she tells them, especially the media. When you're going on a show like The Beautiful People, I mean, you have a lot to make up for.
Right. Exactly. You have so much to it's more one of those things where you got to hold your standards up high, and if you don't do it, then people are going to see right through you, and they're going to rebel against you all the time. So there.
When you think of the name Sheila Dikshit in your head, what do you see?
You don't want to know.
This is so horrible. I mean, not to be disrespectful. We're a fun Saturday morning show. It caught me off guard.
Isn't she like a prime minister or something?
She is very important. She is the chief minister. Yeah. So that's Sheila.
Okay.
But hey, coming up next, no more talk about the Dikshit. Coming up next, we have lesbian, gay, and bisexual athletes that are increasingly accepted in sports.
I can't wait to talk about this.
But you know who's not accepted?
Oh.
Those transsexuals.
Uh-oh.
I have my own opinion on this as to why, which I'm sure we'll get into.
Yeah, let's get into that.
But the truth be told, we're talking about gay, lesbian, and bisexual individuals.
Yes.
Becoming increasingly accepted.
But not transgendered. Okay, I'm going to have to reserve my immediate comments until after the break, because Oh boy, this is a hot button issue with me.
I wonder if Sheila has anything to say.
Stop. Just stop.
Oh, man. And I thought my last name was bad. God. You know, it's one of these moments where you have to be grateful. You have to be grateful for what God gave you. Or, you know, whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
All right. What we need to do right now is take a break. I want to get Buddy and Alfonso in here at the round table so we can talk about the transsexuals, the gays, the bis, the ups, downs, pinks, and purples.
Perfect.
Compete Radio is brought to you in part by...
I hate getting less, but I love getting more. I trade a lot less for a little more.
Into Compete Radio.
And welcome back to the show. We are at the round table with my co-host,
A.J. Johnson.
And special guest...
Alfonso Chavez.
Not so special guest, Alfonso Chavez.
Well, that'll come back to haunt you.
And we also have...
Substitution. This is Bob Andrus. How y'all doing?
Pretty good, Bob. How are you?
How y'all doing?
I'm fixing to do a radio show with y'all.
Bob, where are you from?
I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Born and raised?
Born and raised, yes.
Your whole life?
My whole life.
Where has this accent emerged from?
It just emerged about 30 seconds ago, actually.
Oh,
I thought it was at the racetrack or something.
all right.
Nice.
Yeah, it could be born of my presence atop my motorhome at most NASCAR weekends, perhaps. Who knows?
Our topic today, though, folks,
And
is...
AJ comes in. Our topic today. You're like the weather girl.
I know.
Okay.
Our weather today. You goober! Okay.
That's what you get for this last segment you made us go through.
I know.
That was awful.
Anyway, lesbian, gays, and bisexual athletes are being increasingly accepted throughout the North American countries, but trans policies are lagging way behind. Okay? This study was done in Canada by an individual who is familiar with the LGBT community, and her name was Jennifer Birch Jones. She identifies herself as a lesbian. But what she's saying is that the topic of trans athletes came up organically in her study, and the product of genuine curiosity and a desire to improve the policy was the focus of the whole meeting. Now, her research says that lesbians and gays and bisexuals are more favored when it comes to participating in sports, rather than transgendered individuals. And the hot topic roundtable discussion is going to center basically on that. Why are transgendered individuals not as universally accepted as the rest of our LGBT community?
Well, before we get started on this, I have to know who we're working with here. Does anyone at this table know anyone on a personal level that is transgendered?
I know quite a few people on a personal level who are transgender.
And can you tell me, for those people that you know, and this is just with your relationships with them, not in general, but these people that you know that are transgendered, is this a choice for them, or is it something that they've always felt since they were born?
Well, I really can't speak for somebody who's transgender because I'm not transgender myself, but I can speak from a point of view of you can't be anything but who you are, and you can't try to be anything but what you are. So I think that maybe that's their perspective. I don't think somebody wakes up and says, I think I want to be a woman today, because that sounds like it would be a wonderful life. I guess mentally it is, because that's who you are, but as far as society accepting you, it isn't an easy decision to make, and it's one you can't really undo, once you fully transition.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the big fight in today's times right now is the fight that, hey, let's understand what being gay and lesbian actually is, and that for 99.9% of gay and lesbian individuals, it is absolutely not a choice. This is how you're born, this is how you are. If you could choose to be straight, I bet 90% of gay and lesbian people would choose to be straight. It would just be an easier life. Aside from the initial, this is like, Alfonso, okay. Aside from the initial thoughts we have on our comfort level with being gay, if you look at the big picture and look at your long-term life, you would have an easier life as a heterosexual as opposed to being a homosexual.
As in terms of society, yes, I would have an easier time. In terms of mental health, no, I would not.
No, if you could genuinely make that choice to be straight.
I think I'm so far.
Just the idea of that.
I think I'm at the no turning back point with knowing who I am.
And that's my point, is that being gay or lesbian, it is absolutely not a choice for those out there.
Now,
and that's why I'm wondering why transgendered individuals, if they are on the same lines.
Well, I mean, bisexuals as an exception. I think there are people who do say, I'm going to try being gay or I'm going to try being a lesbian, and then they're not anymore. Those people do make a choice.
That's what I said, 98.
They're like, oh, I'm going to try this. That's a completely different thing than this is who I think I am.
Now, on the flip side of that, Bob, what would you feel like if, for example, on your own softball team, your adult softball team, I'm not your child's, but your adult softball team, if a transgendered individual came up to the team and said, I would like to play, and you can tell this person is transgendered, there are quite a few, physical details that you can see that expresses that, but how would you feel? Would you feel squicky about it, or would you be accepting about it?
I think it's interesting that you choose to point out my softball team and my adult recreation league, because to me that doesn't matter. I mean, red, white, blue, black, brown.
I think more interestingly would be the children's team.
That's where I'm sitting here trying to process this conversation. My sister is lesbian in a loving relationship for 15 plus years now. I've been a straight ally of the community to the best of my ability for years and years and years.
And you are completely heterosexual, Bob. Just
as far as I know, yes.
Well, I think
I'll second that. Bob is completely heterosexual.
Yeah.
Oh, Alfonso, what did you do to Bob?
I found your Josh, your point a few minutes ago of the issue of is it a choice. Mm-hmm. I literally was having flashbacks of a barstool conversation with my father when my sister first came out.
Right.
And he really had a difficult time with it because she's the youngest of the family. She's the princess, and we all had visions of, the high school quarterback All-American boyfriend, then turning into husband and riding off in the carriage together.
The source of that difficulty was because he simply is not gay. And he couldn't understand how someone could be that way because he is not. Which is why all of us here, we can't really understand what it's like to be transgendered because we're not.
But he really had it in his head that she was making this lifestyle choice.
Right.
And that's why I just said, Dad, no. As a father, all you've ever wanted for Princess Kimberly is to be loved and safe and in a trusting, honest, healthy relationship. She has that now.
Yeah.
She just has it with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
A great woman, by the way. She is not... Nobody in their particularly right mind would choose that path of segregation and bigotry and hate and dirty looks and, the potential... no. Who would choose that? And that he had a really tough time because in his mind, and maybe it's a very old school way of thinking, a generational thing even, he has it still that she's making this choice.
Yeah.
And you ask my sister, she didn't come out till she was 19 or 20 officially, but, I've asked her, my wife and I have in many conversations with her, and she's known since 5th or 6th grade. It's been crystal clear what her sexual preference is.
Yeah.
She just finally had the ability and the wherewithal to come out.
All right, I need to jump in and interrupt here. We are out of time, like 5 seconds left. Let's continue this to the next segment. I know there's a lot more to talk about. I'm Josh.
I'm AJ.
And we're here with Alfonso and Bob at the round table. We will take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Stay with us.
Please support our advertisers and sponsors by telling them you heard their commercial on Compete Radio. Today, your radio is gay. You're listening to Compete Radio.
All right, unfortunately, we only have 5 minutes for this segment, so let me just get everybody up to pace. Gays, lesbians, and bisexuals are increasingly accepted in sports, but however, transgendered individuals are not. Bob, you were making a point right before the break. Could you go ahead and finish what you were saying?
Yeah, as an adult athlete, I'm not really concerned with who's on my team or who's on the other side of the court opposing me. But as a father of a now 12-year-old daughter who is a phenomenal athlete and working extremely hard, I have to say, I don't know if it's my ignorance of the transgender community, but as my daughter is growing up playing high school ball, college ball, are there going to be opportunities where, roster spots or starting positions or even scholarships might be awarded to another athlete, let's say a previously male athlete who is now transgendered, and from a physicality standpoint, a strength standpoint, a speed standpoint, fill me in, help me out, Alfonso. You've got friends.
Actually, that was actually something I really wanted to touch upon, because I think it's less of an issue for female to male people who have transitioned. They do have hormone therapy. I think that may be an issue for some males, that they're getting testosterone hormone that might help increase their performance. I haven't heard too much on that end, but what I did hear, there was male to female dirt bike, athlete who was in Canada, and there was a big controversy because she was winning a lot of the competitions, and a lot of the women who were born as women were taking an issue with somebody who used to be a man coming into their field and winning the competitions. And I think that's probably the bigger issue. I haven't heard it as a concern with the men. Once again, I think it's more somebody who was born with more muscle mass competing against women.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
This was like around the time we started Compete that this was going on.
That's my concern.
But the question really is, this is all valuable information. It's educational. I'm learning a lot, actually, by just listening to you guys. The question, though, is why are transgendered individuals not gaining the acceptance that gay, lesbian, and bisexual individuals are?
I think Bob touched upon it very well with whether or not it's a male to female type of transgendered individual, and there's possibilities of them being favored over naturally born females who get into the sport.
But I don't think...
Are they potentially more physically gifted?
I think it's more juvenile than that, and I'm speaking from my own experience. Before I had my friends who were transgender, the only term I knew, and I'm just quoting here, was the term tranny hooker, and that was my idea of what a transgender person used to be. I now know that that's not true 100% of the time, and I know that it's insensitive to use the word tranny unless you're talking about a transmission. But I think that's what a lot of people believe. I think a lot of people see somebody who's transgender and they think freak. And I think that's really the foundation of people's issue with transgendered people.
Well, I have two questions. And to answer your point, AJ, I don't even know that they have gotten as far as to make enough progress to even have a door slammed in their face yet. I don't even know that it's gotten that far. I know that you have gay, lesbian, bisexual, you have the gay rights groups out there fighting tooth and nail with everything they can. Gay marriage, gay equality, all of this political equal rights business. You have that for gay people. But I don't see any transgendered groups out there doing the same thing. And that goes into my question of why do we continue to tie in transgendered individuals with gay, lesbian, and bisexual individuals? Because a transgendered person...
Because it's fair. Honestly, I know we're short on time, but I just want to say because that's fair. Because when we were the ones being... when we were the ones in that position that were on the fringe, there were other people who had to take us with them and say, you know what, these people are okay. They're fighting, they're women also, women who had to fight for suffrage. Maybe they were part of the people that were saying, it's okay to accept people who are gay, who are lesbian, who are bisexual. So we also have to look to other people because that's what was done for us and say, you know what, you have to accept these people too.
But I disagree with that, only because...
You don't think that's fair?
I don't think it's about being fair.
Okay.
Because if it was about being fair, gay people wouldn't have to fight for anything. We're in America. It's not about being fair.
Okay.
The point that I'm coming from is you have a gay person, a lesbian, and a bisexual person. These are all people, these are all categories of sexual identity, gender attraction. Then you have a transgendered individual. This is an issue of gender identity, not sexual attraction. So that's why I'm placing the separation there and asking the question, why are we including a group that has nothing to do with sexual attraction into that group of sexual identity?
You can't say that because transgendered, there is sexual orientation involved in that particular instance. I mean,
no, there isn't.
There is.
So they're
because
sexless.
So
they
they're
have
sexless.
no attraction.
They have no attraction to anybody.
There is not sexual identity involved in being transgendered. You could be a straight transgendered individual. You could be a gay transgendered individual. You could be a man that got a sex change to be a female and now consider yourself a lesbian.
But over 65% of transgendered individuals got their surgeries because they were bisexual or lesbian and they didn't identify with the body they were given. They identified as... I know a man...
It's a gender issue.
I know a man...
It's a gender issue.
I think you have both there. I don't think you can really separate the two. I think they're kind of...
I think there are
symbiotic.
Within the transgendered community, there are various sexual identities that each individual person identifies with. This is not a sexual identity minority. This is a gender identity minority. And what we're doing is we're lumping a gender identity minority into a group of sexual identity minorities. And I don't see how the two and two go hand in hand at all.
I'm going to have to pull up a study for you to read later on so that we can get over that.
Yeah, I think we're kind of stuck in opinion here. Yes, you're right. It is a gender identity issue.
I don't think it's opinion. I think it's fact. Fact. Gay, lesbian, and bisexual people are attracted to a specific gender. That is how you identify yourself. The way you were born, this is who you are.
I think we have discrimination in common, and I think maybe we need to keep that in mind, that maybe we also need to understand that, there are people that have done that for us. We should also keep in mind that we need to keep this moving forward and include other people who are exactly where we used to be.
You can't include other people into a group where they have nothing to do with what your group represents and is.
Well, okay.
Transgendered
people.
Isn't that a bit close-minded?
Yeah, like women. Honestly, when companies look at minorities, they don't look at like, are you Hispanic? Are you African American? Are you a woman? Now, being African American and Hispanic isn't the same as being a woman, but we all consider, a lot of people consider women a minority.
Yes.
But they're not related.
No.
They're not the same thing.
But they're still considered...
Gender and ethnicity are not the same thing, but we still include them, right?
But that makes no sense.
Jump in and
The straight guy in the corner is really... I'm speechless right now. But, Josh, I kind of think I see your point, and I think possibly I agree with it.
Okay.
Is there not... I mean, AJ, you just talked about 65% of transgendered people are homosexual.
Yes.
Or lesbian.
Yes.
Is there not also physical at birth, a lack of testicles or lack of ovaries that are not producing the appropriate hormones and sending the right signals for the body to develop. And sad as it is, aren't there parents and doctors making choices in these people's lives at a very, very young age to either promote the growth of one gender or another, and then does it not fall on that transgendered individual later on in life
to fall in line
to finish what their parents started?
Right.
And I'm not saying I agree with one or the other, but to me, a transgendered person is physically they're born in the wrong body.
Right. As a gay people, it's strictly sexual, who you're sexually attracted to. Lesbians, who you're sexually attracted to. Bisexuals, who you're sexually attracted to. A transgendered individual has gender identity issues. They were born a man, now they want to be a woman. They were born a woman, now they want to be a man. It's not feeling that you were born with the appropriate gender.
I think when you say that they want to be a man, I think that implies that there's a choice involved, and I think
they would be, but they would be making the physical choice to become a man.
Right, they would have to do that. Yes.
Yes, and a lot of them don't because they can't afford it, which I think is sad. I have nothing against transgendered individuals. I'm just saying that what the gay community is doing is first it started with the gay community. Now it's the gay, lesbian, and bisexual community. And now the lesbians wanted to get all politically correct, and so now it has to be the lesbian, gay, and bisexual community. And now we're adding transgendered onto the end of that. And now we're adding Q after transgendered. So now we are the LGBTQ community. I'm just a gay guy that wants to live a normal life, and I just happen to want to fall in love with a guy, have a family, and that's it. I don't want to be a part of transgendered individuals. I don't want to be a part of people that say they're queer, whatever that means. I don't know what it is. I don't have any interest in knowing what it is. All I know is that I'm gay. I should be able to marry who I love and live a normal life. That's all I'm concerned
Behind your picket fence, shut off from the world.
Yes.
I want an A put at the end of that alphabet soup. LGBTQA for ally.
Actually, they do include that in some cases.
But and that's my point. It's like
when do we stop?
How over?
Well, basically, the way I see it is, no, maybe they're not the same, but they are adjacent. Sexual identity, sexual attraction, and gender identity.
Yes,
I would say that they're close enough neighbors that.
But you get these uneducated people out there that look at LGBT. And they say, okay, so what? Like my mom, I've told the story 1,000 times. When I told my mom I was gay, she's like, oh, you're going to start wearing dresses, you want to be a woman.
If I were concerned about uneducated people, I would still try to be straight.
You live in America.
but that's my point. You just made my point for me.
I'm not trying to not make your point.
No, I know, but that's maybe why we've decided to unite, because we're stronger together than separately.
Well, apparently not, because in this story that we're seeing here, it does not look like the transgendered community is putting up any fight at all, really, to make any progress for equality. The only transgendered individual I have seen on TV in the past year and a half on mainstream programming is Cher's son.
Yeah, Chaz.
Well, now imagine yourself as a transgender person, and imagine trying to convince you that you deserve a spot on TV to talk about why you think marriage equality should exist.
I understand.
And maybe that's probably why you don't see as many transgendered people on TV doing that fight. They're having that fight, but I think there's they're fighting fighting to be able to keep jobs, and that's a little bit more important to them right now than being able to get married.
I think it's all political, and I think the transgendered community needs the gay, lesbian, and bisexual community to make any type of impact, and that's why we have included them, because of that initial philosophy where you said other people helped us, now it's our turn to help them. It's just, there's such a separation for me between being gay and transgendered. Because as a gay guy, I never... being a woman is not something that I want in my near future. So nothing I ever considered.
Relate to that.
Right. So to bring that community into what is supposed to be my gay community and combine all that into one group, I just have issue with. Because they seem too distant. They don't seem compatible. You have sexual identity and gender identity, and there's a big difference there.
Maybe you just have to accept the fact that mainstream America, society, and the world around us has put you guys together in that basket.
No, we have put ourselves in that basket, and that's what makes me mad.
But
you don't have to put yourself in the same basket. You can just be gay and disassociate with any other part of the community. You don't have to do it personally.
And the Queen's attack. Couldn't you see it? Yeah, but you don't go with the mainstream gay conversation, talking points, political correctness. If you don't do that, then you're outcast from the gay community, and everybody knows it.
I just want to ask you one question. How many transgender people do you know?
2.
And are they people you talk to on a regular basis, or do you?
Yes.
Okay. I was just curious.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I have nothing against transgendered people. I just don't understand why they having gender identity are being put into a group of sexual identity. It doesn't mesh with me.
It doesn't mesh with you?
It does not mesh with me.
Why not? I mean, simply because the LGBT community is already segregated from everybody else in the world.
and even
now,
within itself.
Exactly.
Even within itself quite a bit, actually.
And then we want to go ahead and pare down the transgendered away from an all-inclusive type of community.
I don't look at the gay community as having an open door policy where, hey, all minorities welcome. If there was a Mexican group that wanted to join the GLBT community, are we going to put an M at the end of that?
Good question.
I think you're getting a little Glenn Beck here.
I think I think it's a little real right now, because the point is that we are, under my understanding from your philosophies, should be that any minority that wants to latch on to the gay community because we need help, because we're not strong enough, let them in. Well, where do you draw the line? Are we going to let bestiality people into that? Are we going to let them into the gay community?
Let me tell you something a little bit about. This is how I think about it. You guys know I used to play rugby, and if you know rugby players are almost automatically friends with anybody else who's a rugby player. And if you know something about rugby and you like to talk about rugby, you're in a lot of cases you're automatically that person's friend. Maybe I'm looking at it too much from that perspective. It's like if you want to be a part of us, if you understand us, if you want to know more, come and be a part of us. Mm-hmm. I don't take issue with that.
These communities have a similar battle to fight against a somewhat common enemy.
Right.
And if you can join forces and, reach the end goal, are you better off by joining forces?
Who is the gay mafia that makes these decisions to add the letters to the...
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I think maybe it's a style guide or something.
Style guide.
I don't know. Maybe it's GLAAD or the HRC.
We have gone way over our allotted time here, but I think it was a good discussion. Alfonso, thank you for your input. Bob, thank you as well. These are the kind of discussions we like to have at the round table.
If you'd like to make comments on our
Nobody
discussion,
has any opinion on this. I don't even know why you're giving the Facebook out.
Oh, yeah, nobody in the community is going to
No one cares.
Our 2 listeners do.
Who, me and you?
Well, okay. The other 2 listeners do.
We got to go to break.
Connie
So, yeah.
No.
Facebook, you can search for Compete Magazine in Facebook and add us, like us, and leave your comments about this very hot topic. Or you can call the Compete Radio back door at 602-539-0280. That's 602-539-0280. Remember, when you call the hotline and you leave a voice message, you're giving us permission to air your message for everyone to hear.
And your message becomes property of Compete.
Of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did your voice change when you said backdoor, Josh?
It does that some. I think it's the smoking.
Oh. Smoking, all right. That's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
When I said backdoor,
Yes.
I think we all know. We all know. And The straight guy gets the joke. All right. Let's take a break. Log on to CompeteRadio.com for news, information, hot topics, and more. AJ, we gotta go.
We gotta go.
We'll be back.
Bye.
Bye.
Compete.
And welcome back to the second hour of Compete Radio. It is now 1 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? I'm Josh Fourier here with
AJ Johnson.
And
I'm Buddy Early, and I don't have any children that I know of.
Hey, Buddy, I've been meaning to ask you, speaking of children.
Yes.
I've always assumed, even often on the radio, to the general public, but are you gay?
I am full-on 100% homosexual.
Like a handbag full of rainbows?
Exactly. Not even 1% straight.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Well, there was an issue in our last segment where we were talking about gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, queer. I could go on.
Right.
I was wondering, what is it within gay men where they decide not what gender they're attracted to, but what sexual preference they have? Where you have tops, you have bottoms, you have versatile guys. Is that something that you're born with, or is that a choice?
That's a good question. I think it's maybe a little bit of both.
Uh-huh.
Some people are, I think, men, women, straight, gay. I think some people are just more adventurous than others. Some people are a little uptight. I tend to fall into the kind of vanilla uptight category, and I'll just leave it at that. So I've been told.
Oh.
Okay.
I embrace it, though. I embrace it.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome.
All right. I think we. Okay.
You just wigged out the co-host.
Yeah.
Now on to sports.
Yes.
Preseason. Yeah. After that. Preseason football,
yes.
Buddy. Talk to me about some football.
We are mere days away from football. Yes, it's preseason, which typically people don't get real excited about, but I think people are excited this year because we were so unsure if we were going to have football.
I have seen the news, the local news.
Yes.
I don't know about what city you're in, but here in Phoenix, they're acting like it's World War III.
Well, the thing was, you had such a small window of time for teams to make trades, sign free agents, sign their own players. So there has been such a flurry of activity in the last 2 weeks leading up to preseason, which starts on Thursday night. We have a full slate of games this next week. Thursday night, 5 games are going to kick off the preseason, and these teams are getting their players into place. What I thought we would do today is talk about these big transactions that took place in the NFL, for one.
By transactions, you mean people.
People. We refer to them as transactions, yes. In my estimation...
How my doctor refers to me.
in my estimation, there were 3 really big transactions that took place in the NFL gearing up for this season, and I want to count those down.
Okay.
And you guys can chime in if you have something to add.
This looks like a list.
You know me and my lists.
Yes.
They're not really long lists, but
they're not,
I like to do lists.
They look very accurate so far.
AJ, I'm famous for my lists, by the way.
Oh.
He is.
Got it. I'll make a note of
Number
that.
3 on my list of most impactful transactions is Chad Ochocinco signing with the New England Patriots.
Now, why is that so impactful?
Well, first of all, he's such a colorful character. I think a lot of people who don't know a lot about football know about Chad Ochocinco, formerly Chad Johnson. But he's still, one of the best receivers in the game, I think. He has the potential to be. So going to a team like the New England Patriots that already is a solid team, it's an interesting pairing because Bill Belichick, the coach of the Patriots, doesn't typically like to take on stars with personalities, and who maybe have some antics that they like to display on and off the field. So this is interesting that Ochocinco is going to be a member of the straight-laced Patriots. I think it's going to be a good thing for him and for the team, though, and could put them over the top this year.
What about Tom Brady? Tom Brady is a big celebrity, and that's got
he is.
Big head on his shoulders.
But he falls in step with the team. I mean, he's a team player, first and foremost. Chad Ochocinco doesn't have that reputation of being a team player. He's very diva, as a lot of wide receivers in the league are. Mm-hmm. And the Patriots tend to not put up with those kinds of players. You show attitude, they ship you off to another city. So this is going to be an interesting thing.
And that's known going in.
Yeah, they know. They're not dumb.
It's not a hidden reputation.
I think it's going to be good for both of them. I think it's going to be something that the Patriots really need to get back to the Super Bowl perhaps this year.
Okay, who's next?
Number 2 on the list is Nnamdi Asomugha, free agent who signed with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was the biggest prize this offseason because he's the most talented player who changed teams, in my opinion and in most people's opinion, I think. The Eagles are stockpiling cornerbacks. And in fact, they've been upgrading their defense this last couple of weeks tremendously. So that's really going to put them in the driver's seat in the NFC East and perhaps in the NFC altogether.
Okay.
I know you were struggling at the pronunciation of his name, probably.
Yeah, say it again.
Nnamdi Asomugha.
Nnamdi Asomugha.
Yes.
See, even this, as hard as it is to say, does not compare to what I had to go through in the beginning of the show.
That's okay. We won't go back.
My number 1 transaction is...
I've heard a lot about this one.
You've heard a lot about this one. Is Kevin Kolb to the Cardinals from the Eagles. He was the Eagles' backup quarterback. Now he's going to be the starting quarterback for the Cardinals. This isn't to say that Kevin Kolb is the best player that was out there, because he wasn't.
Right.
Nnamdi Asomugha and maybe a few others were better. But in terms of having an impact on his new team, I think this could really put the Cardinals back in the playoffs. Because they needed a quarterback, and a good quarterback. Most people tend to think Cobb is a good quarterback. He has his detractors, but in the NFC West, all of those teams are kind of a mess in one way or another. So having a good quarterback could really make the difference for the Cardinals.
So you think Cobb is the answer for this, right?
He's no Kurt Warner.
Right.
But he could be the Cardinals' quarterback for the next several years, and if he has a good first season, he's going to be their franchise quarterback.
And what happens, do you think, if he has a lousy season?
Well, if he has a lousy season, that could mean the Cardinals finish up again with, say, a 4-12, 5-11 record, which would put them in a position to get one of the several quarterbacks coming out in the draft next season.
Okay, are they still playing 16 games this season, or 18?
No, the 18-game idea, I think that's pretty much shot down.
Okay.
For now. A part of the new collective bargaining agreement was that they're going to stick with 16 games. I think most people are happy about that, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay, cool.
As in most people as in fans, or people...
Fans, players, they didn't want to go to 18 games.
Right. The fans would, though.
The fans would. Yeah. Most of them. But a lot of them, I'm actually happy with 16. I think it's a perfect number.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now, what have you got listed for baseball?
Well, baseball's trade deadline just passed a little over a week ago. We didn't have a huge amount of activity, but there are a few. You can see I have a list here. A few important trades that were made, and I think they're going to have an impact on the teams.
Typed out, 12-point font, Times New Roman.
It's a short list. There's only 3 on the list.
But you do such a good job with your material, buddy.
I'll have you make my list from now on.
Very professional.
All of these teams actually are teams that are in the playoff hunt, and so they've gone out and made these trades to try to, improve their chances at making a run in the playoffs and the World Series. Third on my list is Ubaldo Jimenez, traded to the Cleveland Indians. Jimenez had an amazing 2010. It's stellar. He's dropped off a little this year, but he still has the stuff, I think, to maybe help Cleveland win the AFC Central. We'll see.
You think?
2010, some people think may have been an anomaly for him because the couple of years prior to that, he was sort of an okay pitcher. Last year came out and just blew everybody away, and this year he's come back down to reality a little bit. He's still a good starting pitcher and a great addition to the Indians' rotation.
What's his ERA right now?
I believe, I don't have it in my notes here, but I believe his ERA is somewhere in the 3.5 to 4 range.
You think that's...
but he's a good, solid starting pitcher. He doesn't have to be their best pitcher. They just need another solid member of their rotation, and I think this is why he's number 3 and not number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, Carlos Beltran to the San Francisco Giants. He was going nowhere with the Mets, or the Mets are going nowhere this year. They're sitting around 500, but they're not going to the playoffs. The Giants are in a race with the Arizona Diamondbacks for the NFC West, and a really tight race at that. They have amazing pitching left over from their 2010 World Series championship team. They can't score runs, though, so they needed Beltran, who, since coming over to the Giants, hasn't done much yet. Hasn't been getting the bat on the ball very much, but still a very good player that they're hoping can maybe help them score some runs the remainder of the season, because that race with the Diamondbacks is really close.
Isn't Beltran an infielder?
Beltran, no, he's in the outfield.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of another one.
So, number one, the Phillies just keep getting richer. They signed Hunter Pence from the Astros. It was the only thing the Phillies are lacking, another right-handed bat. He's playing outfield for them. Phillies have one of the best pitching staffs ever. They've got some really, really nice bats with Rollins and Howard and Victorino. Now adding Hunter Pence was like the missing piece. I said before the season that the Phillies, I can't see how they don't win the World Series, and adding this one piece, it just makes them more of a favorite.
Okay. All right.
So that's it for baseball and football. I mean, there were a lot of other trades that happened, but I think these are the most significant.
What about the Olympics?
You know what? I do know that I'm an Olympics nut.
I love the Olympics.
I'm a fanatic. That's fan is short for fanatic.
Yeah.
I'm just an Olympics nut. And this week, several countries filed preliminary paperwork, to put a bid in to host the 2020 games.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, next year the summer games are in London.
That is huge for a country's economy.
Yes.
City specifically.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
In 2016, Rio de Janeiro is hosting. And so now, countries are submitting their bids to host the 2020 games. And the U.S. is one of those countries. I don't think the U.S. has yet identified a city. Mm-hmm. We've heard talk of New York City. I don't know how an Olympics would work in New York City.
Yeah, neither would I.
Chicago lost out for the 2016 games. They were the favorite, and sort of they were upset by Rio at the last minute. This is going to be very important for the U.S. They're battling Rome, Italy. Spain submitted a paperwork for probably Madrid, Tokyo, Japan, and I guess South Africa has also submitted paperwork. This is going to be really important for the U.S. because by 2020, it will have been 24 years since the U.S. has hosted a Summer Olympic Games, and that's a long time. Mm-hmm. Not just the U.S., but for North America. You know, we had the 96 games in Atlanta, 84 in Los Angeles, 76 in Montreal. Typically it doesn't go that long of a time span between games in North America. So I'm really hoping the U.S. can put together a strong bid for these games.
I know what you're hoping for, but out of this list, what do you really think is going to happen?
Who knows?
What's your guess?
My guess is,
I'm saying Japan.
That would be like my initial gut reaction would be like, oh, Tokyo. But when you think about it, Japan is hosting, or actually Korea is hosting a Winter Olympics game coming up, I believe. Beijing just had it in the Summer Games in 2008. Japan had the Winter Olympics just less than a decade ago. I'm not sure they want to go back to Japan already.
Doesn't it have to do with the state of the country as well, as far as if they're going to...
I think I see where you're going with this.
In this is 2020.
Yeah.
So if we're where we're at now...
Yeah.
Imagine where we could possibly be in 2020, and
that's a good point.
Would we even be an option at that point?
And not knowing what city the U.S. committee is going to be including in its bid. If it's going to be Chicago again, I doubt it. Right. Will it be Houston or Dallas? Somewhere down south. Who knows? I kind of think Barcelona had such a successful Olympics when they hosted it in 1992.
Yeah.
So Madrid is maybe a very attractive option for the IOC. We'll see.
Maybe they should come to Phoenix.
No.
Wouldn't that be?
No, I think they should. I think they should do something silly and go to the heart of the U.S. and go to Oklahoma.
Ooh, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Never.
Going to the Olympic Games is on my bucket list. I have, going to a Final Four, going to a Super Bowl, going to the U.S. Open tennis tournament, whatever. Going to the Olympics is on my bucket list, and that's why I was so disappointed when Chicago lost out for the 2016 games, because I thought that's going to be a perfect opportunity for me to fulfill that wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, London is approaching next year. I seriously doubt I'll be in the position to go to London next summer for 2 weeks. 2016 Rio, who knows? Who knows what my situation will be? But if the 2020 games ended up in the U.S., that would make it a lot easier for me to fulfill that portion of my bucket list.
Yeah, I would say
Will
so.
will you even be able to travel at that age, though?
Oh, ouch!
Yeah.
I'm so playing.
It's okay. Go ahead.
It's
and
true, though. It's true.
I
might be at the perfect age because hopefully I'll have a little nest egg put aside by
Oh.
2020.
That's crap. He's a young one just like us.
You think so?
He is. I mean, you can't see us, but Buddy's a young guy.
I look younger than I am.
Oh, really? How old are you?
I turned 40 last month.
Oh my God! It was
a couple months ago.
It was
or
the
whatever.
big 40.
Yeah.
It's still young.
Wow.
I thought you were in your early 30s.
No, this is what not having kids. It keeps you looking younger.
And you don't
That
smoke?
I know of.
You don't
no,
smoke?
and I don't smoke.
Right.
I do drink beer a lot
So you have to in these days.
to get through.
Yeah.
To get through these things.
Buddy, what's your favorite part of the Olympics? If you could only go and see one event or competition, or
Swimming.
Swimming.
I love the swimming. In fact, the last week was the World Championships that they have every 2 years,
Mhm.
the year after the Olympics and the year before the Olympic Games.
Mhm.
And I was fixated to that for a full week because I love the competition in swimming. You've got all these different events.
Male or female?
Both.
Really?
They all happen at the same time, so there's constant back and forth. I follow all of the big names. Of course, I'm a big patriot, so I love to root for the U.S., which, the U.S. won 29 medals at the World Championships last week, 16 of them gold, which is far above any other country. I just love that constant action. There's always, you've got freestyle, butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, the medley, the relays, and I just love it. So if I could just go and spend a week watching swimming. The great thing about the Olympics are my two favorite aspects, swimming and track and field.
Mhm.
They break those up. Swimming is always the first week, and then it starts with track and field, so I could do both.
Yeah,
Cool.
you could just watch everything. Now, what do you think about Michael Phelps? Do you think he's going to...
Just going to ask about that.
Yeah, do you think he's going to be able to make a repeat of what happened 4 years ago?
Well, he's got competition.
Well, and I was wondering because he's also had cancer or has cancer, and I'm wondering. I was going to put you on the spot. I guess I just have. Do you have an update as far as what his health
I
is
do
like?
not know about that. That's news to me.
About him getting cancer?
Yes.
Oh,
What kind of cancer does he have?
I don't know.
I don't know that, but I will tell you this. He has been sort of not keeping up his practice regimen as much since the Olympics. He's starting to get back into it. So it's going to be interesting to see where he is by next year in London, because Ryan Lochte, his good friend and rival, has sort of taken his place as the top swimmer in the world. In fact, at the World Championships last week, Lochte beat Phelps head-to-head in 2 events.
Yeah, I read that.
And now he's thinking he might try to duplicate Michael Phelps' 8 gold medals that he got in Beijing.
Testicular cancer.
I was not aware of that.
We need to take a break, though. But,
All
buddy,
right.
thank you so much for stopping
Thank
by.
you. Glad I got to talk Olympics and football. I love those topics.
We love it when you're here. Please come back and see us real soon.
Glad to.
Next week, will you come back?
I think I can do that.
Okay, we'll be right back. Stay with
Please
us.
support our advertisers and sponsors by telling them you heard their commercial on
This is Compete Radio on the Valley's Progressive Talk, 1480 KPHX.
Compete Radio.
All right, it's Compete Radio. Come on, AJ. Do you believe in love?
I do believe in love.
Because I got something to say about it.
And it goes something like this.
It's like the trailer park, the gay trailer park. Oh, man. Oh, AJ.
I can't do it.
I can't breathe. I could just see Madonna. Oh, well, as you know, that was Madonna's Express Yourself, and we're back now. The show is almost over.
That's true, but let's not dwell on it. Let's
okay.
continue to move on while we have a chance to talk.
You know what I would like to dwell on?
What's that?
The fact that the gay games are back on track in Cleveland.
Yes, they are, Josh. It's awesome.
That's big news.
That's huge news. The Gay Games in 2014 will be held from August 19th to the 16th in Cleveland. And, oh, it's so exciting. And all
I'm
of
excited right now.
that whole hullabaloo.
No, look, right now.
I don't want to look right now. The whole hullabaloo behind the legalities
right now.
on the Gay Games. I'm ignoring my co-host because I can.
Hullabaloo, gay games. Go ahead. Back on track.
Okay. You sure?
Yep.
Okay. The whole legality issue behind the Gay Games is finally settled. The Cleveland Synergy Foundation, which was the nonprofit organization that had won the rights to run the event, sued the Federation of Gay Games, Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, the Convention and Visitors Bureau of Greater Cleveland, and the City of Cleveland after the Federation terminated its agreement with the foundation. So there was this big legal battle going on back and forth about who had what type of legal standing to
It was
run
like
these
a gay
games.
lockout.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Gay Games lockout. That's exactly what it was.
But it's over.
Yes, it is. A settlement has been reached,
Yes.
and the city of Cleveland ended
And
up having.
I'm still excited, AJ.
Jeez. The city of Cleveland ended up having to pay $475,000 to the Federation. You're still excited, aren't you?
Oh, let's not get technical about it.
Good. Oh my gosh.
So AJ, the gay games, Cleveland. You, me, gay games, Cleveland.
Let's go.
Gay lockout,
Let's go.
gay lockup.
You are just having too much fun with this, aren't you?
I don't know what's going on. You know, I think it was that last cup of Starbucks.
Really?
Or yeah, Starbucks. It was the guy at Starbucks. He was very attractive, and I think he put something in my drink.
You mean like an aphrodisiac? Do you even know what that word is?
Maybe. And we're going there. AJ's growing a set now. About to get all Jerry Springer in the studio. Don't make me take off my shoe. Well, some good news about the gay games. Hey, let's stay on track here.
Okay.
This is your fault.
Okay.
No, I was saying he put something in my drink. Or I did. For him.
It's called a straw.
Matthew Mitchum, Blake Scullerup are named the 2014 Gay Games ambassadors. Now, this is coming out of On Top magazine, and great. But what does it mean to be a Gay Games ambassador?
That I have no idea about. I would like to get more information on that, but it's not the first time for Mitchum.
Well, it does involve a lot of work. In order to be the ambassador.
Okay. Do we have any idea what they have to do?
Well, they recognize that basically athletes that are competitive in their career, there's commitments that have to be made. Everything has to be taken into consideration, and basically they go through and they look at what's going on in their career, and they decide if this person would be appropriate to be the ambassador based on the circumstances. But now the question I have is, this is in 2014.
Yes.
So how do they know where these people are going to be in 2014?
Oh, I have a very strong feeling that they will be treated like any other athlete. They will be under scrutiny for a while, and then the scrutiny will die down. And once the scrutiny dies down, then it's no big deal. It's one of those things where, yeah, we're an ambassador, and what we're going to do is we're going to encourage you to come to the gay games, come compete in our gay games, and this is what it's like to be
Gay in a game.
Well, gay and participating in these sports, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is nothing new for Mitchum. This is his second time. He's only 23 years old. Let's see, gay games in Cologne, Germany. The Australian diver, he came out gay in 2008 before winning gold in the Olympics in Beijing. And now Mr. Skellerup, 26-year-old short track speed skater, native of New Zealand. He came out as a gay male last year during an interview with Australian Magazine. And that name sounds so familiar. I believe we had him on our show.
Did you?
I think we did.
Wow. I guess that's something that we're going to have to go through the archives for.
You know, I think it was. And it was a horrible train wreck interview. I have to tell you what happened.
Okay.
So, as if this segment is going any better. No, we had him on the show. Okay. And he was talking about how he had all of the support from his boyfriend and everything to come out, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying this was Skeller, but I'm saying this is the guy that we interviewed. I forget his name off the top of my head. And I was like, oh, okay, so you are still, in your relationship. Are you guys maybe going to get married? He's like, no, I'm not. And I was like, oh, because he was single. Apparently it was a breakup that had just recently happened.
Uh-oh.
And I had assumed he was still in the relationship, and the silence was so awkward. To recover, I said, well, what, you're 20-something years old, you're young, you're single now, have fun. But that was one of those moments, in all the interviews I've ever done, that was one of those moments where it was just like, it has to be live. Really? Really? Right now. Live. Really? So, yeah, that was
just like the beginning of our segment.
I really think that was him, though.
Oh no,
that name sounds so familiar. I will double check.
Yeah, let's double check.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
And
in other news, while Josh is checking up on the name,
no, I'll do it later.
Okay. Have you ever coveted something so much, Josh, that you just you had to have it?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's how the U.S. men's team feels.
That's how I feel about them, too.
Oh, God. The U.S. men's soccer team announced that they have a new coach.
It was him. I just pulled it up. It was him. It was Blake Skellerup. That's the guy.
Oh.
Do you guys want to hear what happened real quick? Let's just play what happened.
Okay.
I thought, why not? I discussed it through, obviously, my boyfriend at the time and some other friends, and most of them were pretty supportive, and since then it's been a very supportive and positive decision for me.
Well, I'm very happy to hear you are still in a relationship, right?
No, I'm not.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Another aspect to that, though, is you are in your early 20s.
I am.
You're now single and available for all of the guys out there that are. And then here comes Eric.
You in flip-flops.
With your feet tied together, that'd be hot.
This is almost going as well as my interview with Blake.
So, Alfonso, tell me about your partner.
My partner. He's invisible, and he doesn't exist.
It actually went better than your interview with Blake, I must say.
So there you go.
This Sunday, February 19th.
Coming.
Pardon me, this Sunday.
All right, so Blake Skellerup, he has been named the 2014 Gay Games Ambassador, and we had him on the show. Could have gone better, could have gone worse, but he was here.
Yes, yeah. You poor thing.
Poor Blake.
Well, poor you. All right. Silly you for not researching ahead of time.
That was the thing, as I did, and the most recent story, it had come out a week ago, stating that he was in a relationship. So I had all these notes in front of me. And I'm like, okay, so Blake's in a relationship. That's awesome. He's openly gay. All this is happening for him. Bam. Like, hardcore train wreck. It was just, whoa. You just hear the awkwardness. That's how loud it gets.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Alfonso was in here. Connie was in here. They were both sitting on the sidelines, and their jaws just dropped. And I'm like, great.
Wow.
So anyway, moving on. Yes, something you want so bad, you just have to have it.
Well, that's how the U.S.
I want the U.S. men's team.
Period?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Need I say more?
No, that's where I wanted to make sure that the
story went?
Yeah, that's where it went. No, but the U.S. men's soccer team, they have been looking for a new coach for many, many years, almost a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have one. It is German Jurgen Klinsmann. And since he
Don't you have to say it with the throat? Jurgen Klinsmann.
No, I don't think so.
Is that not how you do it?
Jurgen.
They must all have, the Germans must have very clear sinuses with the language.
You're just making fun of me because I'm not feeling good.
Aw. No, AJ does not feel good today. She's very stuffy. She's always stuffy, but today in particular, she is like, stay out of her way. She will, even though her hair is fabulous.
I'm rocking the do, man. That's all I gotta say.
Tell me about the story. What is this? U.S. men's team.
The U.S. men's soccer team, they now have a coach from Germany that they have been looking for years and years, and now they finally have him. His name is Jurgen Klinsmann. They're paying him money, lots of it, in order to get the U.S. men's team back into the finals of the next Men's World Cup.
That is awesome.
That's the low-down, dirty portion of it.
Is it true?
Yeah? I got this from Yahoo Sports.
Well, you got it from the Onion News Network, so it must be true.
You know what you can do with your Onion News Network. I'll tell you what you can do with that Onion.
Hey, I love the Onion. Don't attack the Onion, or it's on.
Okay.
Do you ever watch the Onion on Comedy Central? It's their sports show. It's called The Sports Dome.
I'm poor. I'm a little poor white trash girl because I don't have Comedy Central.
So you're saying you're poor because you don't have cable?
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't have satellite neither.
Neither.
No.
This comes with the facial expression and everything. If only you people could see what she's doing right now. Tell you what, what have you done with Connie? Bring her back. I'm so joking. I'm joking.
I'm offended.
Why do women do this? See, they should have brought in another gay guy to co-host the show with me. These women, I don't know what your problem is, but you are all so sensitive. And then you laugh like that, and then next thing I know, I turn around and you like try to punch me in the face because you're mad.
I have never tried to punch you in the face.
Yeah,
maybe in the back of the head, but not in the face.
I can't see. We only have a little bit of time, but there's still a lot more we need to get to. I think we need to take a couple serious pills and then come back for our last segment and get the rest of these very important stories out onto the airwaves so that everyone is up to date on their sports. Log on to Compete Radio in the meantime. That's CompeteRadio.com, and we'll be right back.
Please support our...
And welcome back. I'm your host, Josh Fourier. That was the ultra new and ultra hot Kylie Minogue. We love her. Remember whenever she did the locomotion?
Yeah, I do.
Come on, baby.
It was a very long time ago.
Do the locomotion.
You're such a goober.
Oh, hey, I wanna get some international action.
Meaning what?
From a foreign land. I want to hear news and action from a foreign land.
Okay. How about this?
How about it?
All right. FIBA,
Whoa.
which is basketball's governing body, says that NBA players can be cleared and will be cleared to play under contract as long as they return to the NBA once their international basketball season is over. A lot of players are signing with Turkey and other nations.
So wait, let me see. Hold on. Okay. I got to catch up. Basketball players in the NBA here in the States.
Yes.
Can go play in Nicaragua.
If they want to.
Okay. Just so they promise to come back here when they're done.
No.
Okay.
Let's put this in another light. There is another lockout going on in the NBA, and this time it's in the NBA for basketball. Okay?
Right.
The players saw the lockout coming and said, I'm going to go play over there across the pond in Europe or somewhere in the off season, and I want to get paid to do it. So all of these foreign nations have gone to the FIBA, which is the governing body
Right.
over in Europe,
Yeah.
and they've said, okay, we'll let you come on over and play, and yeah, we'll go ahead and pay you. However, once the season is over, you have to go back to the U.S.
Oh, so it's these international. They're saying come back to the U.S.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's precisely what they're saying.
Okay.
And there are a lot of U.S. players like Kobe Bryant and Deron Williams who are being sought after by these other countries like Turkey and what have you to come on over and play.
Do you think all these lockouts and everything have to do with the recession?
No. And I'll tell you what it is in a minute.
Selfishness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I think it is.
Yeah.
Now, the NBA is taking legal action against those locked out players.
Oh.
They're saying that the NBA player...
And the drama continues.
Yeah, the NBA filed an unfair labor practice lawsuit in federal court against the NBA Players Association, accusing the players of failing to bargain in good faith and using impermissible pressure tactics in the labor talks, i.e., all of the players wanting to go overseas to play.
Right. Because they'll actually get to play?
Yes,
Okay,
and they'll get paid.
So how about we stop with this immature, selfish lockout crap, and we let our own guys play here at home?
That's a great question, but...
There will be no answers until we know what happens with the lockout.
That's true.
Ah, that was not the international action I wanted, AJ.
Well, what did you want?
I'll get it later.
Okay. Now, remember a couple weeks ago when we were getting on James Harrison's case about apologizing to Roger Goodell on Twitter?
Twitter apologies. That is my pet peeve. You do not apologize on Twitter. You look like an impersonal jerk, as you would say instead of saying a bad word, a goober.
Yes.
You just look like an idiot. You're apologizing on Twitter.
Well, apparently he heard you.
I know.
Because he finally came out and publicly apologized to Roger Goodell.
All right, and if you're listening this week, that's not enough. That's not enough. You need to call the guy. Go have a beer with him. I
think he actually did say it in front of everybody in the media.
He publicly apologized to his face in front of everybody.
I believe so. That's what I'm getting out of all of our conversations here with the Chicago Tribune.
All right, Mr. Harrison, you are now forgiven. You may now sleep at night. It's the truth, though. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
You don't go and apologize on Twitter if you've messed up. You don't do it. You act like an adult, not some little 12-year-old behind their computer or their phone texting. If you want to break up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, do you text them or do you tell them in person? If you text them, you're considered a loser.
And a chicken.
Right. You apologize in person if you mess up, and if you're really sorry. Don't apologize if you're not sorry, because that's just as bad. So,
Correct.
Mr. Harrison, thank you for apologizing to Mr. Goodell for the evil, horrible things you said to him. Watch your mouth from now on.
The gays are watching.
The gay mafia. The gay mafia is
I
watching.
know of no such activity.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about this? Tiger Woods?
Tiger Woods? How'd it go? Do it again?
I did not do it I said Tiger Woods.
You said Tiger Woods?
All right. I'm going to get in trouble just for pronouncing these people's names.
No, you're not. You're fine. Do it.
All right. Tiger Woods is returning.
Tiger? Boy?
It's not funny, Josh. Quit making me laugh.
Tiger, you get in here, boy. Don't make me get the hose. All right, do it. I'm sorry.
After being plagued with injuries for the past several months, Tiger Woods is actually coming back to the game of golf a lot sooner than he had been predicting. And he is coming back with his new caddy.
A new girlfriend?
His new caddy.
Caddy.
Yes.
Okay.
Byron Bell.
Oh, it's a guy.
Yes. What? Okay, look. He's a really long-time friend of Tiger's, and he's a confidant, and he has volunteered it and said, I'll step up, I'll be your caddy. Because of the problems he had with his previous caddy, Steve Williams.
Yeah. Didn't want to be his caddy anymore.
Well, Tiger Woods didn't want him to be the caddy anymore. Tiger Woods kind of basically said, see ya.
What'd he say?
See ya.
Okay. Yeah, you know, I hate hearing about Tiger Woods. I think he is a despicable human being.
Now, are you basing that off of his personal issues?
Yep.
Okay. I'll agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, great. Go play. Go hit your ball. Go play your sport. But I don't want to talk about him. What's next?
Okay. Roger Clemens. He's the one accusing prosecutors of provoking the mistrial in his case.
No, I don't want to talk about that either. What's next? I'm joking. AJ, come on. Come on. It's the hazing.
Like I need a hazing.
I know, really. You go through enough here. Okay, come on. We got a minute left.
Okay, Roger Clemens accuses the prosecutors of provoking the mistrial. Prosecutors are actually going to determine whether or not they are going to take Roger Clemens back to trial.
They are.
Because double jeopardy has not yet attached.
But they will do it.
I think so.
They're going to try to go for the double jeopardy, but they're going to do it.
Yes.
Real quick, what did he do to get in this mess in the first place?
He lied to Congress about using steroids and HGH.
Mwahahaha. Yes.
Yeah.
You don't lie to Congress.
No, you just don't.
I mean, you don't even lie to your mother. You definitely don't lie to Congress.
Well, now, wait a second.
Oh, let's not even.
Okay.
Okay. Log on to CompeteRadio.com. We have news, information, hot topics, and more. Give us a call. Let us know your thoughts and opinions. It's 602-539-0280. I'm Josh.
I'm AJ.
And that's all the time we have. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you right here next week.
Please support our advertisers and sponsors by telling them you heard their commercial on Compete Radio.
Log on to CompeteRadio.com.
You're listening to the Valley's Progressive Talk on 1480 KPHX and KPHX.com.